I told you guys in the beginning that my music career was going to be geared towards something bigger. I'm here today with a friend of mine who actually goes and rescues kids. I just wanted to give an opportunity for you guys to see what we do, what we're helping fund, and just let you be a part of it. Can you give us just a little bit of insight to what do you guys do for children?
Yeah. Our organization receives zero government funding. We don't receive any tax dollars. So everything that we do is based on donations and just kind people with a generous heart that understands the plight that these children are in. And thank you for helping on the last few operations we've been on. You've been a part of that by sending us some of your funds, and we don't take that for granted. We appreciate that very much.
Well, I just wish I had more to send.
A lot of people want to know how they can help. They're interested. They have a passion for helping these people who are caught up in this horrible industry. And people can go work undercover. Some people provide financially and help us to do the things that we do. So for the last 6 years, I've been working with a couple of different organizations. We typically go to Central and South America and help with trafficking situations. We have good relationships with the national police in each of those countries. It's important also to understand that we don't just go freelance into any country. We have good relationships where they will call us and say, we have some leads, but there are some minors being trafficked here.
Could you run us through one of those missions, kind of from start to finish, when you get the call till what happens with this child?
The most recent missions that we were on was in South America, and you helped provide funds for that mission. Appreciate it. Brothels are legal in some countries. Prostitution is legal. So anywhere you have prostitution, you're going to have children being prostituted also, which is not legal. And so they called us and they said that there was a situation where there were some underground tunnels between some clubs, some strip clubs and brothels, and children were being held captive inside those tunnels. And they just needed to verify. There was a VIP only in those tunnels. You had to have some money, you had to have some pull. And once those leads were confirmed, we sent a team in who got invited to the tunnels, gathered some evidence for the prosecutors and for the investigators there. And after 2 or 3 trips, they were ready to pull the trigger, not literally. They were ready to wrap it up, and they wound up rescuing at least 5 underage children, some overage girls who were being trafficked, and several traffickers that were big players in the trafficking industry. So, and then after that, we have an aftercare organization that works very hard to make sure that those children get care they need. A lot of times it's immediate medical care because of the abuses they go through. Sometimes it's medical care for the drug addiction that they developed by being in that industry. And then also just making sure they're in a clean home, an environment where they're loved, where they can grow and hopefully have a better life.
Do the children typically go back to their families, or do they go into a home type setting, into the system?
It really depends. A lot of times we find that these children were actually trafficked by family. And so in those cases, of course, we don't send them back into that situation. But usually we rely on the country that we're working with for those folks to have that information already. They either go to a facility or a foster home care, or maybe to a home that's independent of any system. It's just there to help those kids. And then sometimes it is, getting those kids back to the country they're from. Sometimes they're even from out of country. So we do have to spend money sometimes just air flights at times to get kids back to their family.
Your goal is to make sure that you see it all the way through till they get back with safety, whatever the situation may be.
Yeah, the goal is restoration, whatever restoration looks like. If it's back to a loving family, great. If it's staying away from a harmful family, then we'll work with that also. But
if I was to donate $100 to your foundation, where would it go?
I work with 2 other rescue operations. One is located in Ta, And that's the organization that I do undercover work for. There are no salaries. I was the CEO until recently. I resigned just so I could help raise funds and spend time with 3 different organizations. The biggest expense we have as far as admin is paying an accountant at the end of the year to help us sort through taxes and make sure we're compliant with everything, but we pay no salaries. All the money goes toward operational expense. That operational expense will include airfare, hotels, food, paying confidential informants. And then when the funds are available, we like to offer a per diem for the operators that go on these operations. But most of these guys are working folks. These girls are working folks. They have a limited amount of time off from work. They're taking their vacation time away from their family, and so we like to pay them some type of expense. Sometimes they take it, sometimes they don't.
And you, at this point, you're boots on the ground. You are actually in this foreign country operating with these children. You're actually the one getting it done. How much do you get paid per mission?
Oh, nothing.
You take nothing.
I think one time out of all the trips I've went on, I took a per diem one time because I was low on funds and I'd spent about everything I had for this other mission, and so I did allow them to pay me, but typically I don't take any money to go on a mission. It's time I want to volunteer. It's time that I just feel like it's worth my time to do that, and I'd rather the money be spent in other ways.
And what makes you qualified to do these missions?
So there's, as I mentioned before, there's 2 organizations that I work with. One organization that we do undercover work, all of our operators have prior law enforcement experience or military or medical. And because every operation we go on, we try to have someone who has some medical skills just in case things don't go well. And but doing undercover work is different work. It's not for everybody. It's difficult work. It's long hours. It's 15, 20 hours a day usually when we're in country. And so when we do the hard rescues, when we go in and law enforcement is involved with the takedown and prosecution, law enforcement background is essential. I've got 10 years. I'm retired law enforcement officer, sheriff for several years. The other rescue we do is a soft rescue, and we do that through another organization out of Idaho. That organization predominantly goes to the Philippines. We don't get involved with the police there. We have a good relationship, but we don't use them. But because we're not there for the prosecution, we're simply there to get anyone out of that industry that we can, whether they're minors or whether they're adults. And so we were able to have 50 women come out of the bars and clubs and come to a banquet that was provided for them. They got a meal. They heard a pastor give them the gospel of Christ, and they was given an opportunity to come to a safe house that day.
How many of them opted to do that out of the 50?
I think there was 4 that eventually got out of that business. And you say, man, that's not very many people, but listen, that's 4 families and potential hundreds of people's lives changed. And when word gets back that what we do is legitimate, there is a home, and they have a warm, clean bed. They have 3 meals a day, and they're also provided their education. If all they have is a high school diploma, this organization will put them through college and give them a college degree, and it's at no cost to them. They'll help them find.
Wow.
They'll help them find a job. If they have a child, they're able to bring that young child with them. It works very well. It costs a lot of money to take care of these needs, but you know what? It works very well. We've seen a lot of success.
It sure sounds like it. Folks, that's what we're about. That's what we're trying to do. Your money goes where it needs to be. It goes directly to helping the kids in one way, shape, or form. And we need help. We need to get this out there. The problem is huge. The problem was a problem when I was a kid. Way back in 1986 when I was trafficked, it was a problem. It has done nothing but get worse and worse and worse. And it's up to us. We have to step up and do something about it. Music, that's what it's for. 4 might have come out of the 50, but that's 4 that wouldn't have come out at all had it not been for this organization and what they do. That's 4 lives changed. And every dollar that came in went directly to these people, these children, these women. It's a horrible situation. And we tend to turn a blind eye to it because it doesn't directly affect us. And there are other human beings being treated like this. If you can help us out in any way, shape, or form, stream the music, donate in. Our nonprofit, SOAR, helps other organizations fund their missions. What we're trying to do is set up programs for children aging out of foster care right here. And I'm starting in Arkansas because that's where I'm from. But it's a nationwide problem. And I'm just calling on everybody that can, help us out. Help me help the children. And the link is in the bio. If you'd like to donate, I can donate directly to SOAR. It is, of course, tax deductible, and we'll get all the information. If you want to follow along, if you want to receive a monthly newsletter, an update on what's going on, what's been done, where money has been allocated, let us know. We'll get you signed up. And if you want to be a monthly sponsor, if it's $10, if it's $5, God says, you plant the seed, He'll give the increase. If you give me 50 cents, God's going to turn it into what God wants it to be. So it doesn't matter how little or how much. Every tiny little bit helps.